So I'm going to treat this as a live. So I'm not going to be editing this video. My YouTube channel is just a little too new to be doing lives. But I wanted to come out here, and I also wanted to share not just the beautiful Pacific Northwest, just a park in the middle of the town in Washington State on the western side, but also share some things that I've been thinking about and coming to realize. And being someone who doesn't handle mouth sounds very well, I sincerely apologize for my huffing. I'm extremely out of shape. But it was really important to come out here today. And also you're going to hear the traffic and maybe the occasional aircraft giant overhead. But again, that's something that I find so beautiful about this area is you can be in the middle of an urban area, but because of the ecosystem out here, and thank goodness that our cities and state want to preserve some of it, they have these parks right in the middle of town. So even though you can hear the cars zooming by on a not so distant road, you also get to appreciate the beauty of nature. I grew up here. Well, no, I didn't grow up here. I grew up across the U.S. I was born in Washington, and the last time I lived here, I was 10 years old. And I've always felt so deeply, deeply connected to this state. When I was a kid, I thought it was maybe because I had family here, but I don't have a relationship with them. And that's mainly my choice. There's no negativity there. What I found out that it really was my deep connection with the ecosystem here. Evergreen trees and mountains have always called to my soul. I feel such intense love when I see them, when I experience them, or when I think about them. You can see it's lightly raining. So beautiful. I always wanted to come back here, and because of my mindset, it was always a distant thing or a wish. It seemed so impossible because even though I was always about control, I still hung on to feeling like I had no control of my life. Like obviously from childhood. And at 25, something that I viewed as very negative happened. And it was traumatic in a sense, but it wasn't big T trauma, A. B, it actually ended up being amazing for me. It was the best thing. So I decided I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to give myself excuses. I'm moving to Washington. So I did. That was in 2018. And I was a little out of shape. I mean, I was out of shape for then. Nothing compared to now. But I came here with such a sense of wonder and adventure. And every time I visited any place, Ruston Way, where you get to see the water and the different islands and lands, and then you can see Mount Rainier looking one way, and you look the other way and you can see the Olympic Mountains. I could almost cry talking about it now. That sense of your lifelong dream coming true. And it was my dream. It was all I dreamt of, really. And it happened. And I had some assistance, but mainly it was me. And when I say that, I mean I had to make that choice to do it, to take the jump, to take the leap. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I came to this forest a couple times. My dad, who I was building a relationship with, and his wife, and their dog, Atticus. We came for a walk in this exact forest, which I live pretty close to now, but it's probably about 10 to 15, maybe 20-minute drive from where they live. All in town driving, so it's a lot. But I just remember being so entranced by the beauty, and it was spring had officially sprung by that point, so it was a lot more lush. So you see a lot of these trees are still waiting to come back or just starting. They aren't filling in all the gaps of the evergreens yet, but they will. And it's almost overwhelming, but in a completely positive way, how green it gets. I think these used to be military homes when it was part of the base. There's a Air Force and Army joint base literally right next to us. And I think this used to be a part of it. But, so, what was I saying? I came out here, and I obviously was entranced. And I enjoyed and loved all of this place. I got extremely fit, mainly because of the job I had at the time. So that helped me to be more easily active when I got out in nature. And I never climbed a mountain or anything. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know if that's a desire of mine. Because I never want to fall down a crevasse, okay? That's real scary. So, it's a beautiful home. I think that was military as well. So, I joined the Air Force back in 2020. So it was just before Thanksgiving. 2020 is when I started. And blah-de-blah, I feel like I talk about that enough. It didn't work out for me. I had some PTSD come up and super didn't handle being controlled well. So I was honorably discharged 11 months after joining, and my husband and I moved back to Washington. Oh shit, almost fell. And I was so excited to come back here. But I didn't get out. I wasn't taking advantage of what I had lost more than once in my life. Many times out of my control, one time completely in my control. Completely in my control. No, I'm really laughing. So, I've been very unlike myself the last 3 years. in the dark, no natural light, when I used to be like we don't need regular light, I don't want electric light, I want natural light coming in this bitch. That's how I was and how I am at my core. And very, what's the word? I was like Snorlax, okay? I just didn't move much at all. And because all of my lifelong coping mechanisms have been stripped from me during BMT, I didn't have those anymore at my disposal the way that I once did. And they didn't work like they used to. And so, in my depression, in my messy state of mind, I found other less healthy ways to cope. And the main one was alcohol. And I started drinking more and more and more and more. And got to the point where 2 months ago, and I can't tell you for exactly how long before that, prior to that, leading up to that, I was drinking 2 bottles of wine basically every day. And every once in a while I would just have this thought of, when is my body going to crumble? Like, when is something going to happen? When is my liver going to give out? Because this cannot be sustained. This is super bad. I no longer drink 2 bottles of wine a day. I actually haven't had wine in like a week and a half. I've been doing, I would say, honestly, I would do like a bottle a week is what I've been on. Because I don't have an addictive personality, so it wasn't like I'm not going through withdrawals. This isn't a thing where I have to give it up and fight the fight, which, respect to everyone who has to experience that. I'm not fit enough for that business. No. Not while I'm talking. So I am very, very fortunate in that, and definitely don't want to take that for granted, though obviously I have. So my relationship, because I do love wine, my relationship with wine is now exactly what I wanted it to be. It is, if I want it, I'll have some, but I don't really want it much of the time. I don't really want it hardly at all anymore. So that in itself is actually a pretty powerful thing, because I've been working on myself a lot in the last couple months. And I'm in a couple coaching programs with some strong, amazing coaches, women who have built their businesses from the ground up, run their businesses, have people working for them. Obviously, when you have a business, it helps to have a bit of a team. But they created these coaching businesses on their own. Very powerful, very amazing women, compassionate women. They are coaches, so that helps. And so manifestation is something that I've been working on. Universal laws, law of attraction, all that business. And one of the things there's multiple things with manifestation, but one of the things that I visualized, that I had been visualizing from the start, was having this relationship with wine, where I don't really want it often at all. And if I do want it, it's not a weird thing where, oh my gosh, if I have like 2 glasses or even a glass, am I going to get back on the binger? Am I going to start drinking a fuck ton again? No, that's not the case. So that is something that I've manifested in a very short period of time, I might add. I went from drinking 2 bottles a day to just one day I just didn't want it. it was fine. It was all fine. So that's pretty cool. Scary forest sounds. So I have officially manifested one of the things that I've been wanting to, which is pretty amazing. And it's also one of those things where it gives you that little bit of proof, that hope, that stronger belief and faith that you can continue to do so. So now the other things that I'm wanting to make happen in my life, oh shit, just a falling branch, guys, it's fine. Now I trust that they are going to happen. They are on their way to me now. So one of the teachings that I've been hearing a lot, and I've also been kind of battling with a lot, is one of the things you should be doing, must be doing, to get your reality that you desire to be your reality that you're currently experiencing, you need to be on the frequency, on the vibrational level of that reality. Because all realities exist now. So if you have a desire for something, if you can visualize it, if you want that thing, it already exists. It's just on a different vibrational frequency than you are currently. So in order to attract that reality, you must raise your frequency to that level. You must show the universe, source, God, whatever it is that you believe in, that, or I should say whatever it is that you call it. I respect religions. I'm not shitting on anyone's religion. You must show it that you are ready for it by matching the frequency of that which you desire to be your reality. Simply put, like attracts like. So, one of the ways that they say that you can put this into practice is imagine if the things that you desire already exist in your current reality. Imagine you have a healthy relationship with alcohol and you don't let it control you in any way. How would you be showing up in life? How do you act? How do you think? How do you dress? How do you carry yourself? What kinds of activities do you do now that you're not so drunk that you can't focus, don't remember anything that's happening? Who are you? And then embody that. Be that. Show up that way. Act that way. Present yourself that way. Feel that way. Think that way. Speak that way. Dress that way. If it has to do anything with dressing a certain way. That is you showing the universe, I already am here. Because if that was my reality, I would be, well, for me, I would meditate almost every day. I do tend to have terrible memories sometimes, or I get distracted by other things. So, well, guess what? Now I'm meditating almost every day. So that's telling the universe, this is my reality. Therefore, or that it's showing the universe that I am of the frequency of that reality. Therefore, now that reality is mine. I have a healthy relationship with alcohol. So, I brought you out to this beautiful Bresamen forest with me on this extremely windy, beautiful day so that I could share a realization that I had this morning when I heard that same teaching yet again. I kept thinking, what do I need to do? Like, how do I, but I overthought it and I complicated it, which is definitely a Chandra thing to do. And then I just would freeze up, and then my mind would just move on to the next thing. Well, that's not working, so let's move on to something else that we can make work right now. And then I had the realization. One of the things that I desire, one of the things that I am manifesting is a part of my whole reality, my whole dream, my whole visualization is being fit again. Having the body that I had before all of the alcohol and the depression and all of the medications that the Air Force had me on that really kickstarted the weight gain. All of those things. Before my body was the shape that it is now. And also, I seek to manifest me going out and walking regularly. Because I've always loved walking. It's so natural. It's so easy, and it's so fucking good for your body and your mind. And if you're in nature, even more so. Look at those trees. So tall and beautiful. So, I realized, holy shit, that's a big part of my manifestation. And every time I think about going for a walk, not even like that sounds nice. No, just the idea of walking. I think, yeah, when it's warmer, when I've lost some weight, when I feel better, when I feel more energy. And most of you are probably thinking, okay, there's something pretty obvious you're missing. And yes, there is something pretty obvious that I was missing and blocking out. What do you think is going to lead to those things? Actually getting out and walking. So I had that realization this morning. That is a way that I can show up as the me that I am visualizing, in the reality that I am visualizing. I don't have to wait, because if I keep that mindset of when this happens, when I achieve that, when I feel that, when my body is this way, when the weather is this way, all I am doing is creating a gap between myself and that reality. And my visualization, my frequency, is so much lower. I am not telling the universe, I'm not showing the universe that I am ready to manifest this reality, because I am keeping myself from living it just by not going on walks. That is an essential, integral, huge way. Look at these tiny little shrubs. Oh my gosh. That I'm keeping myself from being on that frequency, from living that reality. Just go take the walk. Show up as the person you aim to be. So it looks like just right light reflecting on all those plants, but it's actually because they're dewy, they're wet from the light rain, so it's reflecting even more. It's really pretty. So go do it. Speak the way you would speak. React to situations the way that you would react. Think the way you'd think. If you visualize in your reality walking regularly, get your ass off the couch, which is what I did, what I had to tell myself to do, and go. There is a fucking forest less than 3 minutes away from my house. There is a forest less than 1.5 miles. I would guesstimate a mile, but I'm pretty terrible at guessing distances from my house. My apartment, I should say. And I have been limiting myself. And by limiting myself in even this simple way, I have been keeping myself from the reality that I am manifesting. I am keeping that gap between myself and this reality. I did have another thought that I wanted to share, but at this moment in time, it has escaped me. So, with that, I will end this video, and I thank you for coming on this walk with me, and this journey with me. And I hope that there was something that spoke to you on a personal level that has nothing to do with me or anyone else. And I hope that you are able to see who it is you want to be and the life you want to live. And I hope that you're able to see one way that you can start making that a reality now. Because it can be just as simple as driving 1 mile from your home and walking in the woods. I now remember what I wanted to say. So, I'm very much a private person in a lot of ways, and I don't like people looking at me or hearing me when I'm talking about stuff that, unless, obviously I'm recording this for viewers to hear. But I know it's a Saturday, almost noon, probably about noon now, and this is a heavily populated area of the country, so there's no way in heck there's not going to be at least, I figured about 3 groups of people I would see. And I thought, I knew how I naturally am. I wouldn't record this video, which is something I very much wanted to do. And then I told myself, no, Chandra, you're just going to be brave. You're not going to worry about if other people can hear some random phrase you're saying about universe and the source and fucking vibrational frequencies and shit and be like, oh, fucking drugs is that lady on? You're not going to worry about that. You're not going to worry about if there's a couple people you're going to record. Then as I show up to the parking lot, this fucking parking lot is stacked. There are so many fucking vehicles, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be brave. Okay, I'm gonna do it. So many vehicles. I was like, there's gotta be a shit ton of people out here. And, well, as you have seen, not a single fucking person. So, I want to take a moment to openly, on this video recording, thank the universe for hearing me commit to being brave, and then blessing me with a walk where I have not experienced another person, and I got to truly be with myself whilst getting these thoughts out and sharing them, and hopefully speaking to someone directly. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.